this lesson we're going to look at the distributive property and how that helps us when simplifying polynomials. So the distributive property says if we have A and we want to multiply that by an expression B plus C, this is equal to AB plus AC. So let's look at a couple examples. We have 3x and we want to multiply that by the expression x squared plus 7x. The distributive property says that we need to take our first term 3x, multiply that by x squared, and then add to that 3x multiplied by 7x. So let's do this first part, 3x times x squared. That gives us 3x cubed. Now we're going to take 3x and multiply by 7x, and that gives us 21x squared. Let's look at one more example. Let's suppose we have 1/2 x squared and we want to multiply that by the expression 4x plus 8. So again, we're going to start by multiplying 1/2 x squared by the first term in our expression. So that gives 1/2 x squared times 4x, and we can simplify that. We'll do that in a minute. Then we're going to take our term and multiply by 8, and we're adding these two together, so we have 1/2 x squared multiplied by 8. Now let's reduce these two terms. So in this first term, we have our coefficients 1/2 times 4, well 1/2 times 4 is just 2, and then we have our variables x squared and x, and when we multiply those we get x cubed. Now we're adding the next term, and in this term our coefficients are 1/2 and 8. We're multiplying those together. 1/2 times 8 we know is 4. And we have x squared. We don't have another variable attached to the x. The 8 in this term was a constant, so we're multiplying that by this coefficient here to get 4x squared. Now let's look at a slightly more difficult, more challenging example where we are simplifying polynomials and combining like terms involving the distributive property. So if we have the expression 6x squared minus 3x minus 6, and we're going to subtract from that the expression x squared plus 5x minus 4. Now notice the brackets here. We're taking this first expression and we're subtracting from that this entire expression. That means that this subtraction is going to apply to every term in this expression. So let's start by simplifying and getting rid of the brackets. So in this first expression, it doesn't change. We have 6x squared minus 3x minus 6. Now I'm subtracting x squared. I'm also subtracting 5x. So here we have minus 5x We're no longer adding it because we are subtracting everything in this expression. Then we're subtracting -4. So when we have two negatives here, this becomes a +4. Now we've removed the brackets and we can combine like terms. I'm going to do that by circling in different colors all of the like terms. So we have 6x squared minus 1x squared. The 1 is not written here, but it's always implied that there is a 1 there. That's a common mistake for students to forget that that is a 1. 6x squared minus x squared gives us 5x squared. Then we have a minus 3x minus 5x, and that gives minus 8x. And lastly, we have minus 6 plus 4, and that gives us minus 2. So we've simplified and used the distributive law to help with our simplification. And our answer then to this is 5x squared minus 8x minus 2.